Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope that all of you might be listening to me. Now, let us start from the point where we had left it yesterday. First of all, I want to confirm that either all of you are listening to me, please. Hello.
Yes, sir. It's me,
Okay.
Sarika Nagpal. Yes, sir.
Okay, please.
We cannot
I,
be on.
Gigi, thank you very much. It means that all of my sound is very much clear to you. Okay, let us continue from the point over here. No, see that there are two things over here, and they are morality and aesthetics, and they are based upon feelings and are therefore subjective, right? So overall, if you consider, you will find that you will find this thing. I think that everything in your inner self, only one thing is required, and that is the polish of your qualities. Now, certainly, it will be you who will polish them. So here, either it may be morality or it may be aesthetics. It is in the inner self of artists and critics as well. You cannot pronounce any opinion about beauty, correct or incorrect, because all such opinions are sometimes, sorry, uh, all such opinions are sentiments. So sentiments, you cannot call them correct or incorrect, right or wrong, good or bad. Sentiments are sentiments. These are your sentiments. These are my emotions and feelings. I'm right at my place. You are right at your place. So a standard of a task is impossible. So if you look at the things, especially in such a way that you will denounce sentiments or emotions of others, then a standard of tasks will not be possible at all. Each of us may be confident in our opinion, yet may make no claim to regulate those of others. Okay, all of us are confident in our own selves, but we cannot regulate others. I cannot control your emotions and feelings and etc. The same object may be thought to be taste both sweet and bitter, and it is pointless to claim that one experience is more right than the other. And this is the explanation of the above. We may extend this bodily example to our sentiments as well. Hume evokes, without actually naming, the Latin proverb, and proverb is there. There is no disputing over taste. David Hume is of the view that you cannot means quarrel with others on the standard of the test. It is your test, it is their test. There is a rare case, he says, of common sense agreeing with philosophy. So now see that those people, common sense sometimes is not in relation with philosophy. Common sense is common sense at its place. Point number 8, but Hume immediately counters this with contrary common sense position. We behave as if there are objective standards. Sometimes what happens that when the people set objective standards of tasks, then over there uh, certain problems are always raised. Whoever would assert an equality of genius and elegance between Olbay and Milton or Bunyan and Addison would be thought to defend no less an extravagance than if he had maintained a molehill to be as high as Tenerife or a pond as extensive as the ocean. It means that here we have names of various type of poets. On the one hand, we have Olbay. On the other hand, we have Milton. We have John Bunyan. We have Edison. So now see that on the one hand, one is ocean, other is pond. As far as John Milton is concerned, then all of you know very well that he is considered as one of the greatest poet of greatest classical poet of English literature because of his Paradise Lost. So, on the other hand, we have other poets as well. So now see that someone is a pond and other is an ocean. But both of them are uh, quite right at their place. We take it for granted that Milton is better writer than Olbay, a Scottish poet, now only remembered for being named dropped in Hume's famous essay. If there is no standard of test, then an advertising jingle is aesthetically valuable at Mozart's Requiem. There are always people who think otherwise, but we are comfortable dismissing such type of opinion as absurd and ridiculous. So we cannot place all the people in the same row or all the people at same place. Certainly, John Milton is John Milton. Other poets are other poets, and their contribution is certainly praiseworthy. But we cannot make them stand in the row of John Milton. Each and every poet has his own place, own importance. We respect the plurality of views on text when its objects seem broadly comparable. But when one work seems obviously better than other, the principle of uh, here there are the words in italics quickly breaks down. It means that when we find certain type of poets and one is at the highest level, other is at the lowest level because of their subject matter, because of their diction, and and because of their language, then we cannot say that all are equal. But over here, our standard of task is entirely different. Things don't in themselves have good and bad, beauty and ugliness. Their values come from people, but people can be right or wrong about at least some of them. This common sense position that we may judge people's opinion is at least as valid as the other common sense position that we can't. It means that things are there. They may be good in my good in my opinion. That they may be bad in your opinion. So this is up to the common sense of each and every one of us, right? So that common sense certainly has a particular position. To judge the people. Judge the people means, as I mentioned earlier, that we have to look at the judgment of people and the common sense of others that uh, uh, either their background knowledge, their judgment, or their decisions are uh, re- certainly quite right when they judge the things, or when they judge objective type of things. So this is the case over here. Paragraph number 9 to 16. Having established this background for the argument, Hume proceeds to defend the former common sense position against the latter by seeking grounds for standard, standard of the test. So now see, now what David Hume is trying, he is trying to set the grounds. That grounds for what? Grounds for standard of test. What should be the standard of test? Hume has already, in para 6 or paragraph 6, called the standard of the test a rule. It means that standard of test is a general rule. Here he refers to the rules of composition, but here his focus is composition. Certainly, artists compose the things, by which he seems to mean the rules followed by artists or when creating their works. So, artists, rules of what? For example, poetry. How you will judge the poetry? Certainly, through its subject matter or topic, through its diction, the language, and similes, metaphors, and etc. That how they have been used to compare the things who are there for understanding the readers or audiences. So composition is the most important thing over here. He has focused on composition. That how do how sorry how artists follow the rules and regulations of composition. Thus, we have two sets of rules: those of test. Number one, the rules of test are the criticism, and those of composition, and the rules of composition. But Hume does not make a distinction between them. But in the eyes of Hume, there's no any difference between the rules of composition and rules of criticism. How? In the coming line, we will certainly come to know. Apparently, the artist applies the rules of composition to their work, then critic judges with reference to those same rules, how well it has been done. So at certain place, what happens? If you if you can recall in your memories, Literaria Biographia and the discussion of Coleridge means on the poetry of William Wordsworth. That is, Coleridge is of the view that the poetry of William Wordsworth, number one, uh, when he discusses diction of the poetry, he says that the subject matter is common people, and the language of poetry is a very means easy language, and it is not a standard type of language. And poetry and William Wordsworth is of the view that he is writing for common people or for peasantry class, but it is not only for peasantry class; it is for the people of the highest caliber or for the upper class people. When they will go through the poetry, they will never find such type of standard type of language and etc. So now see that if you recall the same, and then he is going, Coleridge is going to discuss the rules of composition, right? And while keeping in view the rules of composition, critics always taste the standard of poetry or any work of art uh, means on the basis of it. But Hume does not make a means a distinction between as a with reference to those same rules, how well it has been done. The rules will be based upon a certain conformity or relation between the object and the organs or the faculty of mind. Okay. Now here the new point which comes over here is the relationship. Relationship between what? Relationship between the object and the faculties of mind. Faculties of mind of home, faculties of mind of critic. There must be relationship, or what Hume later calls the relation which nature has placed between the form and the sentiment. Relationship between form and sentiment. Form means the form means the form of poetry. Form means image, and sentiments are emotions and feeling. And our mental faculties means our intellectual beauty. So there must be a relation between these. Over here, you will find that how sentiments and emotions are means given importance as compared to scientific type of things. Hume's approach to the rules of composition is characteristically empiricist. It is evident that now empiricist that those writers who always believe in experience and observations of the people, and certainly it is this is the last semester, and you will be given assignments and etc. regarding writing thesis on the given topics. You will certainly choose topics, and over there you will find the empirical studies, the studies which are based upon the uh, uh, experience and observations of your own. It is evident that none of the rules of composition are fixed by reasoning. So, with the help of reason, we cannot fix the rules of composition, or can be esteemed abstract conclusions of understanding from comparing these habitudes and relations of ideas. So we cannot compare the relationship between ideas and rules over here, which are eternal and unchallengeable. Relationship of ideas is eternal. It is unchallengeable. Their foundation is same with that of all practical science and practical science and experience. Now, see, on the one hand, we have the science. On the other hand, we have sentiments. So, sentiments are entirely different. And in science, we have reasoning, we have logics. As far as the sentiments are concerned, then you will never find any scientific reasoning over there. So here, he is going to make the thing very much clear. The rule cannot work out a priori, that is, from reasoning alone. So, rules cannot be framed or designed on the basis of reasoning faculty, as far as the literature is concerned, as far as this uh, work of art is concerned. But certainly, you will follow the certainly reasoning faculty and the rules which are based on reasoning and etc. Especially in scientific research that will be that is being discussed to you with you. I think that through research methodologies and etc. And what is qualitative research, quantitative research, and what type of means what type of information do we get from quantitative research, and what is the function of qualitative research, how it is conducted, and etc. But you will also find over there means both the man means areas of research are entirely different. Qualitative research is something else. Quantitative research is something else. In quantitative research, what happens that the reasoning and the formulas are used over there in order to test your hypothesis. As far as the qualitative research is concerned, over there you'll find that you will be you certainly you will depend upon the views and experiences, observation of other people. That how do they perceive the things? So you will come to know about their um, uh, views and ideas. So here, the rules cannot work out priori, that is, from reasoning alone. So you cannot design the rules or frame rules only on the basis of design. Independent of sensory experience. Sensory experience means whatever we receive with the help of the senses, so certainly whole our knowledge till today, whatever we have means uh, achieved, it is based on uh, it. It is based on our senses, or we have got through each and everything with the help of five senses. The reason must be accompanied by facts. Now, see, as far as the reasoning is concerned, then facts must be there, which in art is supplied by experience of what works. On the other hand, in art, what happens? You will have to uh, depend upon experiences and with the help of words. What has been universally found to please in all countries and in all ages. These are the experiences of the people. That what type of thing? For example, if I mention the names of the novels, okay, and Rags and Riches, I think that this is the name of novel, Kamla Shamsi, and she has written, and throughout the world it is being read out, and it is being, um, and it has got importance. Okay, why? Because number one, she has written on the basis of her experience and whatever she has achieved through the sensory experience, and she has put it on the piece of paper, and and the same thing also happens on the globe everywhere, that how poor people become rich, and how do they achieve the highest position in society. So such type of things, certainly such type of novels have universal appeal, and they are read throughout the world. What has been universally found to please in all countries and in all ages, right? Hume highly observes that poetry does not depend for its effect on strict empirical facts. So, as far as the poetry is concerned, then it is not dependent upon the means empirical uh, facts and etc. In poetry, being students of literature, we know very well. In poetry, what happens that uh, it appeals to people because of the highest uh, imagination of poets, number one. And there are certain stages in composition of poetry. First of all, the first stage is observation of poets, and then they receive those things. Time is running out, so I think that I have received the message, and let me to stop over here, and I'm going to continue the same after 10 minutes, and you may be along with me in the classroom. Okay, so I'm going to continue the same. So here I have got the notice that unfortunately uh, over here the time is of 30 minutes or 35 minutes, and it is over, and I'm going to reconnect the same. So you may simply wait for 5 to 10 minutes.